happening? This is the Blue Review. Let's check out what people have to say. We're going to get into the pen. We're going to get into Julio Urias. We're going to get into Cody Bellinger. But I want to read what you guys have to say. What's going on, people? Look at that! Dodgers win. That is a sweep over those Colorado Rockies. Makes me feel really, really good. My name is Greg Bergman. You are listening. This is you're watching or listening, whatever you happen to be doing. The Blue Review on ESPN Los Angeles, Periscope. I am also on a whole bunch of other platforms. I'm also on my own personal platforms. So at Bergman Greg for on. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me at youtube.com/ I think it's Blue Review, something like that. Twitch.tv/MPG Postgame or Blue Review or Greg Bergman. I'm also on my own Facebook at Greg Bergman. So any of those. And let's go Dodgers, getting another win, a 7-3 victory. And that was a very easy ninth inning. That always makes you feel good when guys like Pedro Baez come in and make you feel good about having just a quick 1-2-3. I mean, there was a walk, so 1-2-3-4. Guessing is how it's going to be. But either way, I'm very happy to be here with you guys. And I want to start off with always how we always do, just read a couple of things. And I think before I read what you guys are talking about, I need to talk very, very quickly about this guy. You may have heard of him. His name is Joc Pederson. This dude is so on fire. It's out of control what he's doing. He had... was it 5 out of 6 at-bats were home runs with a double, and one of the doubles, and I think there was a walk in there too, but that doesn't count as an at-bat, so we're not going to count that, and the double was inches, I'm not joking, literally inches away from being a home run. So dude is just fully on fire right now. He did strike out in the 7th inning, so that kind of ruined all of that, or maybe it was, in the 7th inning, so fine, we'll let him get away with a strikeout in there, but when he's this hot, unbelievable. Love seeing what we're seeing out of them. And so let's see. We got El Cariza 1 saying, "What up, Berg? What's up, El Cariza?" Austin Pacheco 27, sweep. How great does it feel? That sweep feeling over a division rival always feels good. 92 and 50, by the way, now. And you are now 42 crazy games above 500, but it's still not enough, and we can get into that more a little bit later because they're still not in the full MLB lead, and there's still a little bit of stuff going on with Atlanta too that we're going to get into as well. But as of right now, 42 games above 500 makes you feel good. El Cariza, Howard Cole says Gonsolin is getting moved back up in the order after moving him back before the game. It's possible. It's very possible. They're kind of deciding what they're going to do with Gonsolin. It's either going to be Gonsolin or, I was reading it, who it was going to be. It was either Gonsolin's probably, or it was going to be Stripling. But since Stripling came into the game, I'm assuming that on Saturday we're going to see Gonsolin instead. So, yes, he's going back into the starting rotation, but Gonsolin is going to be a guy that's going to be coming out of the bullpen. He is not going to be somebody starting when it gets to postseason time. Fine to let him go deep right now, but you're going to want him in the bullpen come playoff time. Nice hat from Zombie Kid 24. Thank you. This is my Los Angeles versus the World hat, and with this, I got, and this shirt. By the way, this Rojo Chingon shirt, which is red badass, I got this from Bleed Los. Bleed Los gives me all my stuff, and it is badass stuff. I love this. I wear this stuff at home. I wear it to work. It doesn't matter. Everywhere I go, people say, dude, that shirt is awesome, or that hat is killer. And you can get it at Bleed Los. Just go to Bleed Los on Instagram, go to Bleed Los on Twitter, and you can go to any of these places and find Bleed Los. They have great stuff, and they just made a Gavin Lux one. I think they have one for Will Smith. There's a whole bunch of that there going on, and so go there. Make sure to go check out Bleed Los and get this stuff. I love wearing this stuff, and this isn't just for this show. I wear it around the city. I wear it at home. Doesn't matter. I love this stuff, and only get compliments on it. All right, back over to the ESPN LA Periscope. It says, no, really, come on, asks, Dodgers win, watching from Woodbridge, Virginia, 7:03. Look at that. We got some Virginia people staying awake. Virginia. It's like 1:30 in the morning. No, really, come on. Good for you for still being up and watching the Dodgers. Love that. I am you. You are me. Dope show. Appreciate that. Thank you. KC8850733355. I always love when people put all these numbers on it. Like I can't just give you. I'm not going to do this anymore. We're going to make this very, very clear. I'm not going to read all of these numbers anymore. I'll read the beginning. If you got a whole bunch of numbers at the end of you, I don't know what you're trying to do here. Like, that's not even a phone number. I don't know what that is, but that's a lot of numbers. I'm sure you have meaning for it, but I don't get it. So I'm going to call you Casey. Casey, Berg bet someone mythical money. That whole thing with John Ireland is nuts. I was gone. This is from Mason Ireland. On Mason Ireland, we get to have $10,000 or $100,000 mythical money at the beginning of the year, and I have a gigantic lead over them, and they're trying to get me to bet to lose my money. But I didn't bet when I was gone for a week. Then Mason was gone for 2 weeks, and nobody was really betting except for Ireland, like these teeny tiny bets a couple times. It's ridiculous that was even a thing. I will bet my money, and I will bet it over the weekend. No big deal. Devin Johnson, let's go, Berg. What's up, Devon? I love Devon Johnson. This dude is killing it for me with Ray El Barbone on Instagram for Showtime Forum, just absolutely destroying it. If you haven't checked it out, check out. If you want Lakers content, go to Showtime Forum on Instagram and on Twitter. Such good stuff. It's unbelievable what they're doing. The numbers are just piling up. I love what they're doing over there. El Carriza, again, should Ryu be pitching just 4 innings on a 6-day rest schedule till playoffs? So this whole thing with Ryu, I think that's a very good place to start off for us, even after the whole Jock Peterson stuff. Hyun-Jin Ryu is not looking like Hyun-Jin Ryu. He had 4 walks tonight. 4 walks tonight. That is the most that he's had all year. And just to make this clear, I was looking it up, and I'm blanking on the exact date, but I believe by June 5th, somewhere in June, Ryu had 5 walks on the entire season. After 4 more walks tonight, he's at 24 on the season. So by the time from the middle of June to the first week in September, Ryu has given up almost 20 walks. That's way too many. I'm sorry. He's just not the same pitcher that he's been. He's getting hit more often. They're hitting to gaps. They're hitting jacks off of him. I mean, he ends up getting the win today. Actually, no, he does not get the win today. Kolarek is going to get the win because he didn't go the required 5. So it's at that point just not looking like himself right now. And yes, even after only going 4 in 3rd innings tonight, I think you need to let him sit for skip his turn in rotation a couple times. I don't care about right now as much as, I do. It's important to see what's happening when it comes to the playoffs and who has the best record in all of Major League Baseball, who's going to have that home field advantage in the World Series. I need him healthy for the World Series. I need him on the top of his game in the World Series. If you got to skip his turn a couple times at the beginning of September, bring him back sometimes around September, like late September 20th, somewhere around there. Fine with that. He needs to be able to just relax just a little bit. It's not the right way to be. Over here on Instagram, Kevin Meteora hit up David Portillo for Bergman memes. That's not wrong. David Portillo does make all of my memes for Showtime Forum, and he also does it for me for the Blue Review. So whenever I put that out on Twitter and it has the picture of my face on Cody Bellinger or my face on Max Muncy or whatever it happens to be, that's all David Portillo making those for me, which are badass, by the way. They're awesome. I love them. But yeah, if you want to, you know what? And if you do go to him, pay the man. He's really good at what he does. I can't do that, and I have not seen very many other people that make memes that are as good as he does. So if you're going to do it, give him a little bit of scratch, all right? That's all I'm saying. Just help him out just a little bit. Ryan D. Montez, yeah, they probably did figure him out too. Maybe, but, this is kind of how Ryu's been for his entire career. He's been a really, really good pitcher for most of his career. The only time he hasn't been good is when he was injured and he wasn't pitching. So if that's what's happening right now, then maybe he needs a little bit, maybe he needs a rest. I think that's totally fine to give this guy some rest. He has been the workhorse. He was a Cy Young candidate, and now his numbers are going to go back up too. So let's see. What do we have? His ERA is now up to a 2.45. He was like a 1.50 for a while, but now he's just giving up runs after runs. It's not the Ryu that we need right now, and I need him to be the right guy moving forward. Jermaine Armenta on Facebook. If you want to find me on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/ Greg Bergman. I think it's greg.bergman.790 if you want all the crazy random numbers. I'm not a big Facebook guy. I don't know. Maybe you guys are Facebook people. I'm not a big Facebook guy. Kind of bothers me. Anyway, Matthew Shank says we got our groove back, which is nice because that is now, yes, 4 in a row. 4 in a row for the Dodgers makes me feel good there. John Colborn says, welcome back, Greg. Thanks for coming on. I am back every Wednesday, and I will be here every single Wednesday until the playoffs. And then when it gets to the playoffs, I'm going every single game. I don't care. I need to be on here with you guys every single game. If I end up at one of the games, I'll come back and do it after that. No matter what, I will always be here, so don't worry. And if you have to choose between me and someone else, no offense, but come here. This is the place to be. This is the place to be when it comes for Dodger Talk. Dodger Rebel, who's my boy, agreed. Place Ryu on the Phantom IL. There is no IL in September, which you know, obviously, but still, there's no IL. Just kind of skip his return in the rotation a couple times. I think that's all that really matters there. So I think that's what we should end up doing. Let's see. I got Zombie Kid 24. Any news on Muncy? Muncy has been actually, I believe he's either hitting off a tee or they're hoping that he'll be back next week. They're going to do a little bit more for him, but he's going to be back next week. Alex Verdugo if we're waiting to see what's happening with Alex Verdugo, he is not going to be back for a little bit of time. They were hoping next weekend. However, it seems as if there's been a little bit of a setback and nobody kind of knows what's going on with him. He might be going back to Camelback to get some more at bats in there, but it's not looking good for Verdugo. And if he doesn't come back soon, I wouldn't expect him on that postseason roster. Other guys that we've been waiting on, Rich Hill. Rich Hill has also been, I believe he's seeing live batters this weekend, and they're hoping to have him come back and pitch next weekend as well. So Rich Hill should be back very, very soon. I believe it was a bullpen he pitched today. Someone's asking about Dustin May. Kevin Meteora update on Dustin May. Dustin May did see live hitters today. He was seeing theirs. They're hoping that he can be back next week as well. So those are another couple ones. Rookie SGV. Ryu has a dead pitching arm right now. I hope that's not the truth. It's looking like through 3 innings, he hadn't given up any runs, but through 3 innings, he was at like 60 pitches. He was maybe given up 1, but he was at 60 pitches through 3 innings. That's not a normal thing for Ryu. He's usually very consistent. He's very low pitch count, and he goes deep into games because of that. He's not looking like himself. And so when you're at 60 pitches through, that's 20 pitches per inning that he's looking at. That's too many. Always going to be too many for any starting pitcher. And for Ryu, who thrives on using different pitches and out pitches and not walking guys, this is a bad spot for him. So he needs to figure himself out. What is that? SD8123. Yo, Greg, they got you working more than Stephen A. Smith, bro. I gotta do whatever. It's crazy because I am doing Mason and Ireland daily. That's I'm the producer of that show. But for this week only, I'm doing Sedano show also. So technically I'm going from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock with those 2 shows. And then today I'm doing this as well because every Wednesday I'm here with you guys on the Blue Review. So thank you very much always for being here. But yes, I am working a lot, and that's what you got to do. You got to grind, right? If you want to be in this business, you got to show where you're worth. And if I can sit here and talk to you guys on Instagram and on ESPN LA Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff, I don't see a problem with that. Lancaster in the house. What's up? It's like, I can't read this. There's like a thing on my computer here. Isia73. What's up from Lancaster? Happy to be here. Lakers time from Ovasum. Yeah, well, not just yet. We're almost at Lakers time, and it's going to be exciting. But right now it's Dodgers time, and this is the Blue Review. So there we go. Ricardo Corrado 4. Need the positive thoughts for the postseason. Yes. I believe in this team. I know you guys believe in this team. That's why you're here and watching every game as well and living and dying by every pitch. But I believe in this team. I think that they have something special that's going on here, especially at home, which is why I really, really want them to be at home when it comes down to the World Series, if they make it that far, which I think they will, because they are really good at home. Not just really good, like exceptionally good at home. They are 55-18 at home and only 37-32 on the road. Those 2 numbers should tell you a lot. It should tell you enough saying, all right, be home as much as possible. Start off win the National League, which you would think that it would be, oh, we're just going to walk away with the National League. Not so fast. The Atlanta Braves are playing really good baseball and have won 6 games in a row. And over their last 10, they're 8-2. So they're at 86-54. That's not a very far distance here. You're talking about only in 4 losses in the loss column that they're back from the Dodgers. So this is a little bit of a race going down here. You cannot take your foot off of the pedal when it comes to just the National League in general. So as much as we're chasing the Yankees and the Astros this is like the closest race that I've seen in quite some time. New York Yankees are 92-49. The Dodgers are 92-50. That's a half game better for the Yankees than it is for the Dodgers. And the Astros are not so very far off either. The Astros are 90-50. So, and that's with having 2 less games than the Dodgers played. So if they win both those games, you're set up right there. Right now, it's just 1 game lead over the Astros and a half a game back from the Yankees, and you're only 4 games up on the Braves for the best record in the National League. It's not over yet. This is still going to be something going on. And by the way, starting now on BleedLos.com, 50% off the entire store. 15% off the entire store with Blue. If you hit up Blue Review, use the code Blue Review in the store for Bleed Los, and you will get 15% off. The guy just texted me right now and let me know that if you want this Rojo Chingon shirt, if you want this Los Angeles versus the World, or if you want a Belly Bomb shirt, Walker Effin Bueller, any of those cool shirts that they got going on, go to BleedLos.com and use Blue Review on the coupon code, and you'll get 15% off the entire store. Not just one shirt, not just one hat. You'll get it for the entire store. 15% off using Blue Review. Go, do it right now. This stuff, especially when it comes to playoff time, very, very important to get this. I know what you heard, Juice Rock. That's not what you get. 15%. Mike Keefe 1419 Berg, what's up? Who's our closet for now? This is not a closet, just so that we're very clear. I am in the studio. I am in the ESPN LA studio whenever this happens. That TV right there is the ESPN LA studio TV. Look at it. I got a Rams house going on behind me. I got a picture of Keyshawn. I got a morning show t-shirt over there. I got some Mr. Rogers thing going on there. I got all this stuff. This is what the studio looks like. This is how crazy the studio is at all times. I'm not going to be able to do it for the camera, for everything else, but if you're on Instagram, you're going to get a tiny little treat here because I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to show you around the studio. So here you go. So you got this, and just so you guys can see. This is my camera. That's what I get to talk to every day, every Wednesday. See, you got the fishbowl looking place here, and then you got me back here, and then this is the inside of the studio over there. And when I sit on Mason Island, I sit way back over there. But this is what you got here. See? So this is your studio with all your lights and all that. So congratulations. If you're on Instagram, got a tiny little treat there just to see the studio. Sorry, if you're on any other platform, the ESPN LA Periscope, if you're on anything, I don't want to take you off of there and put you back on. It's a whole big process. Anyway, let's move on. Kevin Miura is asking, are the Phillies within the playoff spots? They are. They're right outside of it, too. They're just in the wild card. As of right now, I believe they're only 2.5, 3 games back. But this is what's happening. They are 3 games back of the Cubs, who are the second wild card team in the National League right now. The Phillies, with everything that they went out and got, with everything, the Bryce Harper gigantic contract, and getting JT Realmuto, and bringing in John Segura, and getting pitching, and doing everything that they went out and did, not even in the playoffs right now. In September, that's what I'm talking about. And also, they couldn't beat the Dodgers anyway. They're early. They're not there yet. It makes me happy. I shouldn't be that happy about it, but the Phillies, I love seeing a team that spends a ton of money not make it to the World Series, not make it to the playoffs, because the Dodgers, as much as they did at one point spend a lot of money, this is a homegrown team. I love looking at it every single day at the lineup and saying to myself, okay, that's 6 of the 8 position players that are all from the Dodgers minor league system and not spending money on them and all of these different things. It's insanity. So just so we're understanding here, Jock Peterson from the minor leagues, Corey Seager from the minor leagues, Justin Turner, while he played with the Mets and then got moved over, he's not from our minors, but still, he was just a utility guy for the Mets when he came over here, and they just let him go. They just designated for him assignment, said, see ya, Justin Turner, and look what he's come for us. Cody Bellinger from the minor leagues, Matt Beatty, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, all from the minor leagues. Chris Taylor was brought down from Seattle, so he doesn't count, but he started off in the minors. And then obviously Ryu we signed as well. Ryan D. Montez, I've always wanted to go to ESPN LA to see what it's like every time I visit LA and go down to LA Live. Well, I mean, if you let me know, sometimes I can get you up here maybe every once in a while, but it's not the easiest thing to do. But, hit me up maybe one time when you're down here. So I know a lot of people are asking about playoffs. It's early still. We're very early in the system. It depends on what's going on this month. If you're starting the playoffs right now, and let's take this start out. Let's say everybody's healthy. Ryu, Kershaw, Buehler, all completely healthy, and I'll even put Hill in there. Everybody's healthy. As of right now, Walker Buehler is your starting is your number one starter. It is no longer Hyun-Jin Ryu. If this is what we saw from the last 4 outings from him, are not the guys that are going to do it. Possibly Clayton Kershaw, but Kershaw, I really still, at this point, want him pitching Game 3 on the road. I think that's way more important to get him out. That he's a whole nother Game 1 starter on for Game 3. I know it's Game 3, Game 1. It sounds odd, but Game 1 on the road is like a whole new Game 1. So I like having Buehler at home. I like Ryu still at home in Game number 2, and then I still like Kershaw in Game number 3 as the road starter because he has been there before. His home road splits are basically the same for his entire career. I like having him there. If he's not the number 1 starter overall, he's the number 1 starter on the road, which I think is more important for him. Another thing I want to talk about before I get to more of your questions, I know you got a ton of them and they're all coming up fast and furious right now, but one of the things I want to talk about, and I was noticing it today, was Will Smith. And I know there's a lot of things going around about Will Smith, about how the pitching staff isn't pitching as well because he's a young kid and they haven't really figured him out as much, or that now that he's kind of slowing down, they're not getting on the same page. All totally possible. I don't believe it. It's not something that I really think is a thing. Russell Martin has been basically the same thing. He's a veteran guy and still hasn't been able to be there. So, and I know they won last night with Russell Martin behind the plate, and same with tonight. Will Smith was behind the plate and they still won. But both guys were, okay. Nothing out of control. But still, I don't think it has anything to do with that. The thing that worries me right now about Will Smith is that he came out so smoking hot, and he's starting to slow down, and he's going through his little bit of his lull right now where he's not as productive as he has been in quite some time. If you actually look at him tonight he was 0 for 4 again with a strikeout. His numbers have dropped considerably. He's not getting good contact. These aren't even hard contact. They're ground balls. They're strikeouts. They're just little pop-ups. These are not good at bats from Will Smith recently, and it worries me just a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It worries me a little bit that he's not where he needs to be, and he's getting a little bit overwhelmed. Austin Barnes is up from AAA, so he'll be there. But if he starts to falter down the stretch, he could lose that starting spot to Russell Martin and even Austin Barnes. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Will Smith will figure it out. He'll get better, and everything will be fine, and he'll be in the postseason, and it'll all be great. However, the other guy that we're all so very, very excited about and looked pretty good in his first two games, Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux, not a good outing tonight. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. That's not the Gavin Lux that we're looking for. I don't remember him doing that in AAA at all. This is a totally different game. Whether guys are starting to understand him, whether it's just his eye is a little bit off, whether Senzadella was had him totally figured out, and the rest of the Rockies pitching staff could be just about anything. Hopefully this is just an anomaly of a game, but tonight was not the best night for Gavin Lux. I think he'll be fine. He's shown me that he has power. I've seen him go to the warning track a couple times. He has a good eye. He's patient. He's calm. I really like what I'm seeing from him, and he's played a pretty good second base. I haven't seen any issues. If there's something that I'm missing to that, you can point it out to me, but it was just not. I think this is part of it too. Joseph HD is saying this exact thing that I'm kind of thinking. He was trying to hit a homer. He wants to hit that first home run. It's game 3 now, and he still hasn't hit a home run. So maybe there was a little bit of pressing there, which very possible. Joseph, you're absolutely right. However, that's not what he's here for. Yes, we want him to hit home runs. We want him to smoke balls and just destroy pitchers. But It's not happening yet. I think he just needs to take with what he's given and find holes and get on base and prove that he is a much needed commodity. The home runs will come. He'll get those hits. He just needs to be patient and don't start pressing for that home run, or he's going to have more nights like this. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. The more 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts he has, the less chance he has at making it into the postseason roster. So hopefully he slows it down, is more patient, starts to try and take walks. Isn't swinging away at bad pitches, just being within himself and looking like he did in AAA, to be honest. So hopefully he will figure it out. And Ryan D. Montes says that. He'll figure it out. It's just 3 games. That 3 games is still very, to home in a major league game. Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with that. Just saying, I don't want to see this becoming a pattern. I don't want him to be saying, all right, I'm just going for those over 4 with 3 strikeouts. I don't want to see that being a pattern. If that does, that's going to be an issue. But I don't think it's going to happen. Dodger Rebel, I'd rather see Lux as a high average hitter than a home run hitter. Agreed, especially if they're going to have him batting leadoff or if they're going to have him anywhere near the top of the lineup and even at the bottom of the lineup. Since he's come up, he was batting 8th, he bat 1st, and then he bats 7th tonight. At the bottom of the lineup, still just as important. How many times in a postseason game have you watched as the bottom of the lineup did the damage that won games for a team? Because the bottom of the lineup is important. Now, with the bottom of the lineup, another thing that I was noticing today was that Chris Taylor was in that 8th spot tonight. Chris Taylor has been killing the ball recently. I love what I'm seeing from Chris Taylor. To have that be your 8th hitter, I think that's a really important thing to have. That keeps at-bats alive. That keeps you in games. That gets you back to the top of your lineup. There's so many things about having Chris Taylor down there that is really good. Although this is all about this Dodger family. It's about this Dodger team. Doesn't matter where they are in the lineup. I've seen Seager in the 6th, 7th hole. I've seen Seager in the 2 hole, which has been the last 3 games, which very happy that's starting to happen again. Where it's Seager Turner again. That was when the offense was really clicking. When you had at the top of the lineup is either Peterson or Pollock, depending on who it is, whether it's a righty pitcher or a lefty pitcher, and then Seager, Turner, Bellinger. Love those 2, 3, 4. I think it's a very important 2, 3, 4 to have, and if that's what you got going into the postseason, gonna be dangerous for teams to try and get through that gauntlet. Leadoff Jock Peterson is the real deal. Yes, he is. He's got 31 home runs on the year. He hit the 250th home run for a Dodger player this year, which is a new National League record. So congratulations to the Dodgers. And congratulations to Jock Peterson, who had 5 out of 6 hits be home runs with 1 double. That was just inches away from being his 6th home run in 6 at-bats, which would have been bananas. Frank Talk LA, what's up, Frank? Every contender has concerns. Dodgers have as good a shot as anyone this year. Totally agree with that. It's very true. Jesus or Jesus 331145. Hopefully Ryu gets things going. Agreed. Drummer Boy 2585. How can I get into ESPN LA? I live in Los Angeles. You can come down here and hang out, but to get in here is almost impossible. I mean, we don't just let anybody in. It's not something that happens. If you want to get into ESPN LA, you got to have a reason to be in here. Sorry, we don't just let anybody off the street. No offense, just isn't going to happen. B. Hayes with a whole bunch of numbers. Can any of our pitchers handle the Yankees twice in a series and win both? Not sure. No, I'm not sure either. If you were sure, you'd be a genius. But no, I do think that they can. I think that if you see the Yankees, this is what's going to happen. For the Yankees to get into this position, they need to have a gigantic offseason or a postseason. They're going to have to go through the Astros. They're going to have to go through the Twins or the Indians or the Rays. They're going to have to go through these teams to get there. If you think that getting through the Astros in the ALCS is going to be simple with their pitching staff versus the Yankees bullpen and their power, it's going to be a hell of a series as well. So that's another one where it's just that they're going to have to go through a lot to get to the World Series. And I'm not sure if they get through it with their starting pitching rotation. Don't think it's enough. So if they do get there, they're going to be tired, and they're going to have to use their bullpen, and they're going to have to use their bullpen a lot to get there. So they might be tired. I like the way that these all matches up. I think the Dodgers get through the National League with not a ton of issue. I think Atlanta will give them a little bit of issue, but I think the Yankees and the Astros are going to have tough series to get through. And then either the Twins, Indians, Rays, something like that, or even the A's. If one of those teams somehow get through, that would be dangerous because that means they went through a crazy gauntlet to get through as well. Eric V24. So how the Dodgers going to beat the Yankees or Astros? They're going to do it by not doing what they did against the Yankees in their series at Dodger Stadium. They were swinging at pitches that we haven't seen them swinging at all year long. They were swinging at pitches outside of the zone. They weren't being patient. They weren't working counts. They did a couple times in the first innings, but they didn't sustain it throughout the game, and that's not Dodger baseball. They played porous defense, which is not really how they've been built either. This is a very good defensive team as well. So I think that they're going to play good defense, they're going to have good starting pitching, and they have good, strong, long at-bats, and I think they're going to show their power because they have it, and getting on base, showing that they can hit doubles and singles, and the two out runners in scoring position hits, the 2 outs, 2 strike runners in scoring position hits are all very important, and I think that's how they beat the Yankees or the Astros in the postseason. It's all very possible. Joseph HD, why does Ireland hate Pollock? He doesn't hate Pollock. He just has this thing where he thinks that AJ Pollock is not going to make the postseason roster, which to me is bananas and crazy, and I didn't ever understood it, and I actually said, where are you getting this idea from? Because guess what? It's not happening. He absolutely destroys lefties, and he is going to be in any time, and he's going to lead off whenever there is a lefty pitching. That's how it's going to be. Just insane. I don't know where he's going with that. JRock88. Berg, who do you think is pitching game 1 in the playoffs? If it all happens right now, I think I'm going to start this off by saying it like I did just a few minutes ago. It all depends on where all these pitchers are by the end of September. If it was today, Walker Buehler is your game 1 starter, Ryu's game 2, and Kershaw's game 3. If Ryu starts to figure it out, or whatever happens, Ryu can still get game 1, Buehler game 2, and Kershaw game 3. I don't care how great Kershaw pitches down the stretch. I don't care how terrible some of these other guys pitch. I want Kershaw game 3, starting the first game on the road for the Dodgers. He's the best road pitcher out of all of them. And then game 4, I still want Rich Hill. And Rich Hill should be back next week pitching because he saw live hitters, bullpen, all that good stuff. He should be back very, very soon. Lorenzana Juan says, your thoughts on Bellinger this second half of the season? I think Bellinger he slowed down. There was no way he was going to stick at 400, batting 400 and on pace for 65 home runs. It wasn't sustainable. However, he's starting to hit home runs again. He's getting on base. And I want to tell you what I really, really love about Cody Bellinger. It's not the home runs or the RBIs or the batting average or the OPS or any of that stuff. It's the hustle. The hustle that he shows every single time out of the box. In the 7th inning, I believe it was the 7th inning, the Dodgers were up 7-3 against the Rockies just tonight. There was 2 outs, and he had a dribbler up to second base. He sprinted his ass off down to first base to try and beat that out and keep the inning alive. It didn't matter that they had a 4-run lead. It didn't matter that what was going on. He was busting his ass down the line to try and get to first base and get that single. I love that type of hustle. Every single time out of the box, he is busting his ass down the line. And we're never sitting here going, God, he does not even try out of the box on a ground ball. That's just terrible. Doesn't matter. He's beaten those out before, and he just barely missed beating it out today. So again, always, I love the hustle, and I think that's the biggest thing about Cody Bellinger that I like the most. Now, yes, his numbers have gone down just a little bit, but that's going to happen. Everybody regresses to the mean, but he's still right around 310 on the year. He's leading the major leagues in home runs with 44. He's got over 100 RBIs. He's leading the Dodgers in stolen bases. He kind of is doing everything. If you look at his stats, he is actually leading the Dodgers in every single major statistical category. Corey Seager is another guy who is not, by the way, or is on doubles. He's leading in doubles, but most part, it is all from Cody Bellinger. Kariza, he did miss a homer by a few feet the other day, didn't he, Will Smith? Yeah. Will Smith also hit a home run just a couple days ago, but it's like home run or bust for him right now. Today, all I saw was ground balls, not so much there. Choice fielder, Baez, Kelly, Ferguson, May, Gonsolin, Urias, Hill, Maeda, Sadler, Kolarek, and Jansen. Penn will be fine. Out of all of that, you got Maeda. Stripling will be in there as well. I think Kalaric also is a guy that's going to make it, but you're gonna May and Gonsolin. I think you're only gonna get one of those guys. And Ferguson is kind of in a situation where he's been pitching really well of late, which is great because he was terrible, but he was really good in the postseason last year. I think Ferguson has a chance to make it, especially if he's pitching really well down the stretch. Kalaric has been pitching well. Sadler has. I think that, but between May and Gonsolin, both righties, both young. May did get hit in the head, which was kind of tough, which was brutal. It was just really rough to watch. He's going to be just fine. A lot of hair right on the piece of the cap right here, so he should be okay. But I think of the two of them, I think only one makes the postseason roster, and I think it's going to be Tony Gonsolin, but we'll see. And Pete Alonso hit a home run, so he's got 45 home runs now. Jeez, Pete Alonso is just a goddamn beast. Sorry for my language there, but jeez. Leo LA 2103, Seager is the key to a World Series. Yes, I agree. I don't think he's the key, but I think he's a very, very important piece to this World Series run, because when Corey Seager is playing well, this entire team is playing well. He's getting hits now, and he does so many of the little things like hitting doubles and singles and driving guys in. If you go look at his stats versus pitcher, so I did this all last postseason, but obviously Corey Seager was hurt, so he wasn't playing. But every single game, I would look at who the pitcher was and how they did against Dodger pitching for their career, or Dodger hitting for their career. Corey Seager was always 400 or better against the pitcher that was they were going up against in the postseason. It was insane. He was always like 15 of 45 or something like that, or 15 of 35 or whatever it happened to be. He just hit everybody. He would have like 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 doubles. It didn't matter. He was just destroying all these guys. And this is so him being there, him being in that situation would be absolutely huge. And I hope that he's in that spot coming up. Let's go over to Facebook because I haven't checked in on Facebook very much recently. Laura Montes says hi, Greg. Hi there. Ron Barnoy, what's up, Barnoy? Is Rio still the NL as Cy Young leader? I don't think he is after his last 4 outings. I think the NL Cy Young leader, as Buster Olney was saying on today's show with Mason Ireland, he was saying that John Flaherty from St. Louis could possibly be there. I think Jacob deGrom has been one of the best pitchers in baseball since the All-Star break. Max Scherzer, despite being a little bit injured, he's got a great shot at it. I don't think that Ryu is going to get it anymore, and especially if he takes a couple games off. I think it's time. I think he falls out of the race just barely, despite how great he was pitching into August. I think you have to finish strong as well, and I think that's why deGrom, Flaherty, Scherzer, those types of guys are all going to be Cy Youngs. But if I had to choose, it'd be your boy. It'd be Jacob deGrom. Will come through. I hope so, Laura Montez. I hope you're right. Who do the Dodgers prefer to face in the NLDS? Who would they rather not face? All right, so if I have a choice, and this is also from Ron Barnoy, which welcome Barnoy again. If I had a choice, it's so tough. I think the Nationals probably are who they are going to see in the NLDS, and I don't really want to because I really like their pitching. However, I know that that's the type of team that kind of falls apart in the playoffs. And they've been super hot down the stretch. But I mean, with Scherzer having to probably pitch in the wild card game, that means Strasburg, Corbin, and then Scherzer, and then probably back to Strasburg. You can beat both of those guys, and Scherzer, I think you can also beat. I think you can beat that pitching staff, and I trust it a little bit more than their offense, and their defense isn't all the greatest thing either. I would much rather go with the Nationals, despite the fact that the Cardinals in the playoffs just always scare me. I don't care. And if you have to see the Cubs early on, oof. And it would be the Cubs. Sorry, it would be either the Cubs or the Nationals most likely. And I don't really want to see either of those teams, especially not the Cubs. But I don't want to. I think it's probably, if I had to guess, it would be Nationals Braves World Series, and then I think you can get through all those teams. L Dodger, great catch in left field today, man. Oh, thank you. I am Chris Taylor. Eric V24, bring back Mason Ireland at noon. Oh, we're not going to get into that. Look, we're in drive time now. It's okay. I understand. Change sucks, but you know what? We go through it. Things happen. We move on. Bentley 023, Twins getting into the postseason. I haven't followed too much in the AL. I think they do right now. They have a 6.5 game. No, it's down to a 5.5 game lead over the Indians. That would be a pretty big collapse to fall completely out of the postseason. That would be insane. Because if they don't, even if they don't, they're still right there for the wild card. I do think the Twins get into the postseason. I think they're too young though. I don't think they make it to the World Series. I think they're a one and done type team. Joel Tana, surprise Dodger player who doesn't make the postseason roster. Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Of the postseason roster, who would I take off? I'm going to go into the depth chart. Surprise guy that's not going to make the postseason roster? My guess would be Kike Hernandez. I think out of everybody that's not going to make the postseason roster, I think he would be the one left off. If you're leaving Gavin Lux on, you're taking Kike Hernandez off. There's nobody else you can put on there. Alex Verdugo is not making the postseason roster, I don't think, at this point. So if you're going to carry 13 guys, it's going to be, I'm going to go just try and count this out and look at it at the same time. I got Pollock, Bellinger, Peterson in the outfield, absolutely. Chris Taylor will also be in the outfield. That's 4. Turner, Freese, Muncy, Seager. I'm going with Lux as of right now. And then I'm going to go Smith, Martin, and then you still have room for Kike. You still have Kike. You still have room for Kike, and you still have room for probably Beatty in there as well, because I don't think Verdugo makes it. So you've taken him off. Maybe Christopher Negron, but I don't think he gets in there. So, yeah, I think those are the guys, and I think Kike does make it. So it would have to be somebody off of the pitching staff, and at that point, you're looking at maybe a Kolarek or a Sadler that doesn't get through. Maybe Floro, something like that. But for the most part, I think they're going to be okay. Let's see. Heard Bill going on and on about Rendon. Beatty, I think, can possibly make it as well. All these guys can all possibly, because Jaka's getting in there. But Rendon, yes. Why would we get Rendon? Why would we go after Rendon? Because he's a third baseman and Justin Turner's going to be 35 and Rendon's only going to be 30, and you can find room for them and play them in different spots. I don't know where you would place Rendon, but he would be a great player for this Dodgers team next year. Although Justin Turner obviously is the guy that you want in that situation. I just think if you do go after Rendon, then Turner kind of becomes your super player, and I think he's still good enough to be an everyday player. But that's kind of how this Dodger team works, though. Like, you might have Rendon one game and then Turner another game, and they'll move guys around. It's all about positionality, so all those things are very possible. Danny Boy 1911, Verdugo needs to come back. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. He had a setback. He's not ready. He's got to go back to Camelback. So if that's happening, him making the postseason roster becomes a little bit more iffy. I don't know if it's even possible, to be honest with you. I don't know if I ever did this, but I think it's been enough out there to put through. But I just want to send out my blue review real fast. Just let's retweet that. Thank you very much. All right, so let's see. Are you saying Verdugo needs to go? No, he doesn't need to go anywhere. El Dodger, so true. Yeah, El Grandes Ligas 1. I'm not a big fan how Roberts keeps moving the lineup. All right, so let's go back to this. This was something that was a huge topic last year. It's obviously going to be a big topic again at some point. I would like to see the Dodgers having a set lineup every single night going into the postseason, but that's just not how it works. And to blame Dave Roberts for it, I think is not the right move. I think Dave Roberts has a discussion with Andrew Friedman, but Andrew Friedman and his group of people up in the front office all make that decision for him. They all already know what they want, who's going to go where, what's going to happen, who is the best position to succeed. So when Gavin Lux went into that first spot, the number 1 spot yesterday, it wasn't because they thought, we're going to get him as many bats as possible. It's because they thought that he had the best chance to succeed against that pitcher, who was Chichi Gonzalez, who was 0 whatever with an 8-something ERA and was terrible, but looked like a Cy Young candidate against the Dodgers last night. So you put him in there because you're like, all right, I think if he's gonna go off, it's gonna go against Chichi Gonzalez. Nobody could get a hit last night. It was just insanity. They still ended up coming back to win, but thanks to the old guys in Russell Martin and David Freese and, yes, Justin Turner, who's 34 years old, who is the old man, one of the old men. I'm 36, and these guys are 36, and we're talking about how old they are. How do you think that makes me feel? Not good enough. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. J. Daniel 997. When is Seager getting his next contract? Is he worth paying big money? Big fan of his, but waiting on his breakout year. All right, so let's remember who he was. He was a two-time All-Star before he got injured and didn't play basically at all last year, of which he had to have Tommy John surgery, which he had to have a hip surgery. He had to do all of these different things, and he missed a lot of spring training, and then he got injured a couple times this year. So who he was Rookie of the Year, All-Star, injured. So while he may not be fully back right now, I totally expect him to be a huge part next year. And as for his contract, I think he's still got another year or two. I'm going to look it up right now, but a year or two of arbitration left. And I don't know exactly. I mean, he's getting money and all that kind of stuff, but for the most part, where is Spotrac? Why are they not giving me this? I want your contract. There you are. Okay, so Corey Seager has 2 more years of arbitration. You have 2020, 2021. So after being kind of just okay this year, most likely he'll go into arbitration next year. They'll give him a lot of money. He'll make $7, $8, $9 million next year, and then they'll give him a gigantic contract. Maybe it'll be this year. Maybe it'll be right before his 3rd arbitration year, but he's going to get a big contract. He's going to be the shortstop of the future. He is here. He's not going anywhere. Why were the fans whistling at the game? You know what? I was listening to a lot of it on mute. I did hear some of Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, but for the most part, when I come into the studio, I have to put it on mute because it doesn't really work. So I just watch the game. I don't get to hear everything. Dodger Rebel, Scott Boras is his agent. Yep, Scott Boras is always going to make it very tough on everyone. Austin Pacheco, 27. Does Gonsolin start a postseason game? No, I don't think so. I mean, look, I could very well be wrong. Gonsolin could just go nuts down the stretch and become the next great pitcher for the Dodgers, but I don't think that he starts a postseason game. I think your 4 starters are going to be Buehler, Ryu, Kershaw, Hill. Those are your 4 starters. That's what I think is going to happen. So anybody that's telling me that other guys are going to be there, I don't believe it. I think that Hill is going to get that 4th spot. I don't know Esneri. I don't know why there was the whistling. I didn't hear it. So let's see. You think Verdugo makes the roster? Lorenzen Juan? No, I do not. I do not think he makes the postseason roster. Frank Talk LA, you think those teams want to see the Dodgers in the postseason? I don't believe so. No, and I think we worry so much about what we think the Dodgers are. Are the Dodgers worried about this team? Are the Dodgers worried about the Yankees? Are the Dodgers worried about the Nationals? Teams don't want to see them. And you're absolutely right, Frank Talk. They do not want to see them because of how they go about their business, how they go through their at-bats, how patient they are. Go watch on Friday, because they got an off day tomorrow on Thursday. Go watch on Friday. Whoever, I'm not sure who the starting pitcher is. I'd have to go look, but whoever it is, just watch. It's going to be a guy that is going to be right around 30 pitches, because the Dodgers are they're going to take their time. They're not going to swing away at their first pitches unless you're Corey Seager, because he loves to do that. But they're going to go deep into counts. They're going to take 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches per at bat, and they're going to get that starter out early, because that's the type of baseball that they play. They're going to wait for their pitch. They seem to be a lot more patient right now, and it will go back into being that type of team, and that's what I really want to see. When will Joe Kelly pitch again? I would assume Joe Kelly will pitch on Friday. Is the closer? The closer is Jansen. Eric V24, you're asking. Dave Roberts, without fail, no matter what, is always going to say your closer is Kenley Jansen. Now, look at what you saw tonight. Pedro Baez, yes, it was a 4-run lead, so it wasn't even a save opportunity, but still, Pedro Baez tonight, 2 strikeouts and a walk. That's it. No hits, no nothing. That's kind of what you want to see from Kenley Jansen. And the fact that we're not seeing that is what's making it a little bit different. All right, let's go back over to the ESPN LA Periscope, where it says, DVDs for sale. If you need DVDs, because who doesn't need DVDs in this time of year anymore? DVDs for sale. DVD for sale. LMAO, Ireland, and Mace got replaced by a clown. Oh, nah, sorry. Didn't mean to do it. No, let's see. Also, I give it to Bergman. You actually know what you're talking about, especially when it comes to Dodgers. Thank you. I appreciate that. But we're just having a good, fun talk. And don't come on here talking about this other stuff. I'm not getting into any of that. Lorenzana Juan, are we really talking smack on Seager? Oh, me? I thought I've been talking great about Corey Seager. Unless you're talking about other people. People love talking smack about Corey Seager. It's because he was injured last year, but they don't remember. And he's been injured a couple times this year. Corey Seager's leading the Dodgers in doubles, and he's like second or third in all of the National League in doubles as well. I'm fine with that. I don't care if his home run numbers are down. I just want him getting on base, getting RBIs, doing the things that he needs to do, and especially at the top of the lineup there. Whew, I love Corey Seager. Big fan. Chris Camelo 1 says, Buster only thinks Rendon could be a Dodger next year. He's a great talent, but that clearly would make Lux's role uncertain. Thoughts? I don't know how much that has to do with Lux. Lux will probably be up next year. He's gonna fight his way. If he fought his way into September, think about it this way. Cody Bellinger did the same thing. Like, guys do this all the time. They come up in September, they're just not quite ready, and then they come back the next year, and you're like, oh my God, where the hell did you come from? That is what Gavin Lux is going to do. If Gavin Lux doesn't make the postseason roster this year, which is extremely possible, then Gavin Lux will be on this team next year. It's not going to do anything for him. Whether or not Anthony Rendon comes to the Dodgers, that will do a lot of things for Justin Turner. That's the bigger thing, is whether or not Justin Turner becomes not expendable because he's not going anywhere, but if that changes his role into being more of like the Chase Utley type role, because right now Justin Turner has one more year left on his contract. So if you can bring in Anthony Rendon this coming year, and you change things up for Turner, I think that's okay. I still think Justin Turner is a absolute beast and a great everyday player, great everyday third baseman. He's got 27 home runs this year. When was the last time you saw him with 27 home runs? I'm okay with that. El Grandes Ligas, 3-4, 4.07 ERA. Zach Greinke in postseason. Dodgers own him. Zach Greinke is not the best in the postseason. He was good with the Dodgers in the postseason. However, the Dodgers absolutely kill Zach Greinke. They get to him every single time out, and usually in the first inning. They get it. If you go look at the record against guys, just destroy Zach Greinke. I'm not worried about Greinke in the slightest. Of course, now that I say that, he's going to come out and he's going to destroy the ball. He's going to kill everybody's sanity. Justin P. Stover, level of concern with our 7-8 record against the AL. That doesn't bother me. Whatever happened in the AL is a lot of those are, you got Tampa Bay in there, you got other games. Yes, you had those 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, but it doesn't bother me. I still think once you get to the postseason, it's a whole new year. Everything starts over. It's a crapshoot. Guys, that if you're hot in the postseason, you're hot in the postseason. And I think once they get to the World Series, which, yes, I do think they get to the World Series, I think they're going to get through it. It may take a little while, but it is going to happen. S. Neri, what happened to Andrew Tolles? Kind of feels like he disappeared. He kind of did disappear. He went on administrative leave, or, he had something going on with his family, so he didn't go to spring training, and he left, and he was gone. And then they decided to bring him back for extended spring training to Arizona, and he just couldn't last there, and he left again, and we've not to be heard from again. It's too bad. Andrew Tolles was a very likable player, but he's done. He's gone. I don't think hopefully we see him again at some point. I don't think it'll be with the Dodgers, and I don't think we really see him at all, period, anymore. And it's sad to say that, but who knows? Guys come out of the woodworks every once in a while, but I think he may be done in baseball completely, and that happens to a lot of guys, especially in AAA. If they smell the major leagues, it doesn't work out, they go back down to AAA, they just can't get it done there. Something happens, and they have family issues, whatever it happens to be, and they're gone, and you never hear from them again. It's too bad, but yeah, Andrew Tolles is no longer. I don't think he's even with the club anymore, to be honest. Over on Aaron on Instagram, on YouTube, I love how Seager is going about his business quietly. Anyone who talks smack about him probably hated Jock. Them haters sure sat down this year. Idiots, patient people. Patience people, yes. I mean, I'm not going to go as far and say idiots, but yes, Corey Seager is a gigantic part of this team. When Corey Seager is at his best and he's batting as well as he has been in that 2 spot, and you have Justin Turner batting, who has 17 home runs since the All-Star break, by the way. 17 home runs, which is 3rd in all of baseball, I believe. Since the All-Star break, he has been fantastic. So if you have those 2 guys, 2 and 3, and you have Jock, who's just been fantastic, and by the way, we've talked about this before too, Jocktober is real. Jock Peterson in October is a totally different guy. And he has been fantastic in the postseason. He's been fantastic in World Series. So Jock Peterson against a righty, I love him leading off and hitting home runs like crazy. Very happy with so Jock, Seager, Bellinger, Turner, Bellinger. That's a dangerous 1 through 4. And then you're going to go into guys like Will Smith and Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux and David Freese and Max Muncy, who we don't even talk about in that 1 through 4. Max Muncy will be in that situation as well. So the fact of the matter is this lineup is stacked throughout, and not just with power, which they do have a ton of it, but with patience. And I love it. And that's what it makes this team so fun to pay attention to. And also made it so I'm not doing these every single game in September again. Last year, I did every single post game after every single game because I had to, because it was every single game mattered. It still matters now, but not to the level where I have to do this every single game. And I'm going to do it after once a week going into the postseason, and hopefully maybe start doing it a little bit more if the games start really mattering at the end of September. Although my brother's getting married at the end of September, so I'm going to be gone for a lot of that. So we'll see. Brian Sawyer, 79. Jock is in love with Ethier's bat he gave him Saturday, and he's crushing the ball. Call Dre, get more bats. Yes, Dre, give him all of your bats. Get him as many bats as you can, because if he's hitting the ball off of like that because of you, I'm all about it, Brian Sawyer. J. Daniel, 997. Belly playing first base in October. Every time I talk about this, I end up being wrong, and I'll admit it. But yes, I don't think he does. I think with David Freese and Max Muncy both being healthy and on the postseason roster, those 2 guys are going to be playing first base. I believe, and what they're talking about is now Cody Bellinger, because of speed, because of how much he can cover in the outfield, he's going to be the center fielder. Actually, I believe he's going to be center fielder, which pushing Pollock over to left field and Jock Peterson over to right field. So now you're going to have those guys, and then if you need to play other guys, if you need Chris Taylor will play left and Jock will play right, or or however it needs to be, Taylor can play right, and Pollock can play left. They're going to do a lot of that, but for the most part, Belly is going to be playing center field. Austin Pacheco, Jocktember is real too. As of right now, Jocktember is real, but I'd much rather have him say Jocktober being real. DVD for sale. How calm will you be if the Dodgers are in a series clinching save opportunity with Jansen coming in? It's a very dangerous question. I will not be comfortable. How calm will I be? I will be biting my fingernails. I will be grabbing onto a desk. My legs will be bouncing up and down. I will be scratching my eyeballs out. I will be living and dying by every single pitch, just like you will be living and dying by every single pitch, because that is scary. Unless something amazing happens and he becomes the pitcher of old and he's throwing 94 to 96 with the cutter moving and he's dominant and he's pitching inside the strike zone and not on the outside of the strike zone. Because let's talk about what happened last night real quick with Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen last night was facing the bottom of the lineup against I'm not talking about Nolan Arenado or Trevor Story or Charlie Blackmon or whoever else is hitting really well. He was facing the bottom of the lineup, and he was afraid or wasn't able to pitch into the middle of the strike zone whatsoever. He was outside of the strike zone the entire time, and he was walking guys, and he was giving up hits still, and he was scaring the hell out of you. There was 1 out, up by 3. He has runners on second and third with 1 out. And the top of the lineup was about to come up. It was getting close there. He got out of it, thankfully. 1 run did score, but he got out of it, thankfully. It was worrisome. There was no strikeouts. He wasn't able to do anything with it. All right, I got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to read one thing from each category. Over here on the ESPN LA Periscope is saying that appreciate the honesty. You're very welcome. Esneri, who do you think will be coming off the bench in the postseason? Depends on the day. If you're facing a righty or lefty, could be David Freese will obviously come off the bench. So will guys like Will Smith. Or depends on what's happening. But Will Smith kid. Chris Rodriguez on Facebook says, "Happy belated birthday, Greg. Thank you very much. Hopefully Jensen figures his stuff out by playoff time." Yep. What about Jacques Claude Van Damme? I like that. That's pretty good. Very funny. Brian Sawyer 76. Kenley's pitching scared. I don't disagree with that. Can I go to your bro's wedding? LOL. El Grandes Ligas 1. No, unfortunately you can't. They're very short on who they're going to allow. All right, that's going to do it for me today, but I just want to tell you guys, remember, go to Bleed Los, at Bleed Los on Instagram and on Twitter, and get 15% off. 15% off the entire store if you put Blue Review for a coupon code. Use Blue Review, one word, in a coupon code, get 15% off the entire store. So please make sure, go to Bleed Los, get this badass Los Angeles vs. the World hat, Rojo Chingon shirt, or it's going to be a Belly Bomb shirt, or a Max Muncy shirt, Funky Muncy shirt, or a Walker Effin Bueller shirt, or a deluxe Gavin Lux shirt. Whatever you want. Going into the postseason, this is the place to get all of your stuff. Please go to Bleed Los, get all the stuff that you need. All right, that's going to do it for me. I am Greg Bergman, at Bergman Greg on Instagram, at Bergman Greg on Twitter. Thank you for being on the Blue Review. I'm going to be back next week. It's going to be an early one, and I believe Matthew Moreno will be joining me with me, so it'll be a guest-filled show next week where I'm going to have Matthew Moreno joining me as well. That's enough. I'm out of here. Thank you very much. See you guys next week. See ya.